Okay, YouTube. Okay, so hit go live on YouTube too, right? Or
Oh, if go live came up on YouTube this time like that, you're going live. So does it show
yeah,
in a blue box this time?
it's not blue, but it's red. It says it's a black, it's a red button with black
In the top
parentheses.
right corner that says go live.
Yep, yep,
Mine
yep.
used to be red back for some reason mine's blue now. Okay. If we both want to click go live, we can start here in just a moment. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna click go live on three, two, one.
Okay.
You do it too. All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Special Sunday show. We're going to do a lot more of these. We got Jonathan. If you followed TFR Live for years, Jonathan's always been with us, knows a lot about hip hop, sports, great mind in the community. And he's been at the decoding for a number of years now. I've lost track of time. He might have been decoding himself for 3 years. But he did a lot of work on the recent death of the rapper in Chicago, FBG Duck. You might recall I talked about it briefly. He was killed on Barack Obama's birthday. Of course, Obama gave his acceptance speech in Chicago. They reported he was shot dead at 4:40 p.m., kind of like 44, Obama number 44. That was the same day the Beirut explosion captured the minds of the masses. But Jonathan's done some great work on that and connected it to King Von. And earlier this year, Jonathan caught something really interesting about King Von that I shared, but that was Jonathan's discovery. So Jonathan's going to open it up. He's going to lay this thing down with us about FBG Duck and King Von, which is very interesting. Then what we're going to talk about is this new Public Enemy album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, in light of what they show at the beginning of the Black Panther movie. Because again, they announced this album the same day Chadwick Boseman died from the Black Panther. And if you've seen that movie since then, you might have caught the Public Enemy poster and the power outage sequence that happened shortly after that. So we're going to talk about that. Also, Nas's new album, King's Disease, and what that looks like it has to do with the Chadwick Boseman death 1 week after its release, and a number of other things. And I'm sure all sorts of things will transpire. And if Jonathan wants to take calls later, we can take calls too. So I'm going to stop talking and let Jonathan run with it. I'd love to have his face on the screen tonight. Jonathan, if you want to promote your channel where people can watch this from your end tonight if they want to switch over, his face is on his channel, my face is on mine. We've been trying to troubleshoot it and get both our faces on there. We'll save that for another week when we get more technical. But Jonathan, if you also want to promote your YouTube channel so people can subscribe and watch over there, probably be a good thing to start with as well. So you got it, friend.
Yeah, it's the number one, the word infinite with the capital I, and then a space, and then the word consciousness with the capital C. Consciousness, the same way you would spell it in the dictionary. CONSCIOUSNESS. So it's one infinite consciousness, capital I, capital C, space in between the infinite and the consciousness. So, um, so first of all, the reason we decided to do it on today is because today is 8:30. In numerology, the zero doesn't count, so that's like 83. And if you type in Jonathan in the calculator, it equals 83. And of course, Zach was born in 83. So we thought it was an organic way, an organic date to start.
Well,
Our,
it was funny because we were talking about when to start, and it was like, well, if we do it this last weekend, it would be kind of rushed. So it was like, well, let's give ourselves a week to try to get everything figured out. And then we're like, yeah, it makes sense, man, because we both got that 83 connection. It's 8/30. So yeah, yeah.
okay. So, so first of all, if you've been following Zach, you know that especially with coronavirus, is the number 56. So that's been a huge number with this ritual. So if you type in the word RIPFBG, F as in Frank, B as in boy, G as in Georgia, duck, it equals 56. RIPFBG duck. FBG duck is or was a rapper out of Chicago, and he was a big member of the he was somebody pretty big who was big in the drill movement. Basically, the drill movement is just Chicago's version of gangster rap, and FBG was a big part of that. So if you notice RIP FBG duck, it also equals 97. 97 is a number that has a lot to do with death. The word death equals 97. Now, King Von is another rapper, another drill rapper out of Chicago. His name equals 97 if you put it in the calculator, as well as 38. So death equals 38 and 97. King Von equals 38 and 97. And King Von and FBG Duck, they had this beef. These two streets are beefing, 63rd Street and 64th Street. And so Duck was from 64th Street. King Von was from 63rd Street. And these two streets don't like each other. So it's interesting that on when FBG Duck was murdered in Chicago, it was actually on Obama's birthday. Obama's birthday is 8/4, 84. Just like the word Jesuit. Now we know. Recently we figured out that the Jesuits are the one responsible for all of this. So the word Jesuit equals 84. Obama was born on 8/4, and on 8/4, a Chicago rapper gets killed. And the thing about King Von is that the way he got on was he got on through Lil Durk. Now, Lil Durk is the biggest rapper out of Chicago at the moment. So if you type in Lil Durk in the calculator, that gives you a 33. 33 is a huge number. We always been talking about this number since the beginning. Also, the word Drake equals 33. And him and Drake, they have this new video. And it's a really interesting video. I suggest people watch it. So Drake is 33. Lil Durk is 33. Now, the word Asian doll is 33 as well. Asian doll was King Von's girlfriend. So Asian doll is another female rapper. Apparently they broke up, and right after they broke up, she got into this almost fatal accident. So there's a lot of death surrounded. There's a lot of death around King Von. Some people say that the way he got on was it's not like his music's that good, but in Chicago, what they call a drill is just going and doing a hit on somebody. It's another word for doing a drive-by, right? So they call them drills, and that's how the music started, right? So it's like kind of like music to do a drive-by to. So you do a drive-by, they call it a drill. It's like doing a hit on somebody. So apparently, King Von has a real body count. You know, from my research, he's killed at least two people, possibly more. And so, because he has so much street cred, that's what, apparently now that's how you get street cred. Because he has so much street cred, that's how he got the deal with Lil Durk. And it also makes Lil Durk have more credibility by him, signing somebody who's supposedly respected in the streets. It gives Lil Durk more credibility as well. So Lil Durk signs King Von. King Von has a beef with FBG Duck, and from the day that King Von dropped his album, March 6, 2020, and the name of his album is called LeVon James. This was the last album King Von came out with, and there's a lot to that cover as well. If you notice on the cover of King Von's album, which I'm showing on my channel, he has a number 64 on there. So 64 for 64th Street. So he has it's kind of like a LeBron James jersey, but it just says King Von and the number 64. And there's a lot to that album as well. But the point I was going to make is that album came out on March 6th, and FBG Duck was murdered on August the 4th. That's a span of 151 days. So King Von drops an album on March 6th. 151 days later, FBG Duck is dead, and 151 is the 36 prime. And if you type in FBG Duck, it equals 36. So also, Jesus Christ equals 151. And all of these
do those rap rituals with the rappers.
Right, they always do the rituals with the rappers, and Jesus Christ equals 151. These two rappers are beefing. 151 days later, FBG Duck is dead. FBG Duck equals 36. 151, the 36 prime. And
Jonathan, I just got to chime in on that because you brought this up way back when, and I did a post the day you brought it to my attention again, how the album came out March 6th, the 66th day of the year. LeBron James, Lakers, King, it's all 66. And then again, the finals were originally set for June 4th, 6-4. And then he's got the 64 jersey, and you can see the game clock up here at 64 minutes. And then he's on 64th Street. Well, we were talking about the 66 thing and how they always do these 66, 666 riddles with LeBron. Like when they mentioned he was the first player to go to 6 straight finals since 66 when Bill Russell did it. Excuse me, I got allergy sneeze there. But 151 is the 36 prime, and 666 is the 36 triangular number. And we were talking about this back in March. Lo and behold, the Lakers coach, Frank Vogel, he goes into the playoffs having coached 666 regular season games now as the Lakers head coach for another 666 riddle with LeBron heading the playoffs and the finals and all that. So it's just all these things, like you pointed out this pattern months ago, and now it's been built further since then. So anyway, man, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that was good. As far as that goes, it just goes to show you that, you don't have to have much talent to make it in the rap game in hip hop. You either have to be a killer or be willing to sacrifice someone close to you, or you might be the sacrifice yourself as the actual rapper. And my nephew, he goes by the name RHY. He raps, and he's made like 4 albums already. And he's independent. And the suggestion that I give him is I just tell him, just stay independent. Just just keep doing it how you're doing it. You don't need a record label anymore. A record label is just like having a middleman. If you can make the music from your room and you can release it on a on one of these streaming services like Tidal or Spotify or Apple Music. You can put it on SoundCloud, you can put it on YouTube, but you don't need a record label anymore. When we were growing up, that's all everybody wanted was a record deal. That's all everybody wanted was a record deal. But years later, you find out that getting a record deal is almost like it's like a death sentence. Something. I mean, like Megan Thee Stallion, for example. She sacrificed her mother. She's on top of the charts. She's arguably she's the biggest female rapper in the world right now. And the same thing with the baby. He sacrificed his father. He's the top rapper in the world right now. So it's a real deadly a game. Drake has also sacrificed some of his close people. We're talking about the top rappers in the game. So it's just my suggestion is if you really love hip hop, you would make it because you love it. That's the reason I used to make it. But I was brainwashed too. It's not like I'm immune to the brainwashing. As a kid, I wanted a record deal too, and I would rap to try to get a record deal, just like everybody else would. It's that's the thing. It's like they brainwash us so much that even though I can see it, I'm not immune to the brainwashing either. Like I was playing a song one day with my homeboy in the car, and the dude was rapping about this girl that broke his heart, right? And so I'm driving down the freeway with my homeboy, and I don't want to hear that song. I want to hear about drug dealing and people getting shot and killed. That's what he told me. And I played him the song that he wanted. I played him a song to what he was looking for, because that's what and I'm not immune to it either. That's what we all been programmed to want to hear: violence, killing, murder, selling drugs. You know what I mean? And that's not all hip hop is about, but we've been programmed to think that is what is supposed to be good, and that's what we're supposed to like.
Indeed, indeed, cultural programming, and we know how powerful it is. It's why most people are sound asleep. So, and it's why most things are boring to people. It's like if there's not some killing, some explosions, some sexy women, it's like this isn't for me. That's what I need. That's what I'm addicted to listening to, watching, and that's why truth channels get small views while all this other crap on YouTube gets huge views. So, yeah.
But the thing is that yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just like how am I supposed to be happy when I got a 16-year-old daughter and I put on the radio a song like WAP, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, and it's not like she's 16. It's not like I can hide the song from her. You know what I mean? She
Right.
has an iPhone 11.
The more you tell her you don't want to listen to that song, the more she's going to listen to it.
Yeah, that's why I don't say anything.
Yeah,
But it's like, and you could tell how much they program how they want the masses to listen to a song like this. Because I'm in the middle of Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere. Right, not right now. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky right now, but I was in Wyoming last week, and on the radio in Wyoming they're playing this song, and you could tell. You could just tell that they want to program you with they just want to put sex into these kids' heads. And my daughter's 16, and she's just starting to get into boys. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any father would like a song like that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
But it's like how with time they always push the bar more and more. But it's like, which way are they pushing the bar? Like, because the reality is these two women are rapping to a song where the hook in the background is there's some whores in this house. So it's like, what women want to represent themselves on that track? There's some whores in this house. That's what you want to rap over. And then it's just funny to see how they do it, because it's Frank Rodriguez It's his song, "Whores in This House," came out 89 days after his birthday. So you just see how ritualistic it is too. And it's like, this isn't their creation, this isn't their creativity. This is just they're the ones willing to do it for the fame. Just like, she was the same one who was willing to sacrifice. I'm talking about Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion is the same one who was willing to sacrifice her mother 35 days after her birthday to get in the rap game. And rap equals 35, like Svengali, which it represents the evil hidden hand in the industry. The mother's name's Holly Thomas, which equals 149, the 35th prime. She died by a familiar number 42 days before her birthday. All these rituals with 42 in Black history, and her old rap name, Hollywood, even has that 42 in it. And again, it's part of me wonders, like, was she a willing participant? She was part of the rap industry too. Maybe she was willing to make this sacrifice for her daughter's career. I mean, some parents obviously would. And she also joined that 44-64 club. Kill equals 44 and 64. Megan Thee Stallion's mother died on the 44-64 date numerology. And we were just talking about King Von, who reps 64th Street, and whose birth name, Devon Bennett, equals 64, and just that album cover with all the 64s. And you're saying how he got away with murders, and he gets to brag about that as his industry, right? Consider what we document each year with how many bodies drop in connection to LeBron James when the playoffs roll around, when you understand the rituals. And for people out there listening who doubt this, listen, the night before Cliff Robinson was reported dead in the news, I said these basketball players, these entertainers with the 89 connections, which represents King James, they drop dead around this time of year. Next morning I wake up, it's Cliff Robinson, whose full name equals 89. And he's dead at age 53 as the Lakers and Blazers play each other for the 53rd time in the playoffs. And Los Angeles equals 53 as they advance over the Blazers. All this stuff is so cleverly thought out and calculated, and it's perfect and exact. And I mean, you start to pay attention to this knowledge and see what's going on in the world, you just see how stuff adds up every single time. And, when the finals were originally set for June 4th, 6-4, that was 157 days after LeBron's birthday. Remember, Kobe Bryant's 157, dead on his 157th day of his age. And then the All-Star game was won by Team LeBron with the set score, the first to reach 157 points. I mean, all this stuff is connected. But I was going to say about this guy getting mainstream credit for being this killer rapper, and that's how he gets his recognition. It seems like he's part of this cabal somehow. He's connected to it. And again, they want to use this music to mind control people and promote people to go out and do things so that they end up becoming locked behind bars and part of the prison industrial complex and part of the modern day slavery system. So, I mean, this King Von, he might have all this street cred for killing people, but he might also know that he's protected and he can get away with killing people, whereas most people don't have that luxury. Not that I think most people out there want to be killers, but there are some people who would do anything, even off their own mother, to become the hottest artist on the radio. And that seems to be the type of people that make it in show business, unfortunately. So,
Right, right, but these people are smart. The people who control hip hop, they've woven the prison industrial complex as a part of hip hop. They basically, it just, for example, if you go to Atlanta, the rapper Ti, he has a museum. It's called the Trap Museum, and it's basically just talking about trap music. It's the same thing with drill music. Like I said, drill is just another genre of rap music that started in Chicago. Trap is, I guess Atlanta gets the credit for starting trap music. So Ti has this a museum called the Trap Museum, right? When you go inside of there, there's a part of the museum where you're actually in a prison cell, and you can go inside the cell and take pictures, and you're like in a real cell with the bunk. You're standing behind the bars and everything. So it's like, okay, if you open up a museum that is dedicated to trap, well, what does prison have to do with it?
sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Indeed. Right. And you think about T.I., he's someone who supposedly went to prison for having illegal guns, and he's been connected to so many rituals and weird deaths over the years as well, as we've been documenting. He's another one of these insider types, if you will. So,
Yes, yes. But I mean, let's talk about Public Enemy.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell people what I saw. After this whole Black Panther ritual, um, and I didn't really realize how these were connected. If you guys watched my videos before Chadwick Boseman died, I did a live stream on Jackie Robinson Day and how it was tied in with MLK and what they were doing in the MLB. And then lo and behold, the actor who played Jackie Robinson ends up dying later in the day. But the video I did earlier in the day, I also talked about the new Public Enemy album that was released August 28th, the same day that Chadwick Boseman died. Now, after this big ritual, I said, I better go watch this movie. There must be some stuff in this movie that relates to what's going on in the world. And that absolutely is the case. I'm going to save that for another time. But what I noticed, and this all happens within the first 8 minutes of the film. And here, let me scroll down here. So that might be, it's a dark scene, but early in the movie, it says it's 1992 and it's Oakland. And of course, the Black Panther Party was established in Oakland. In Jonathan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I just heard some noise. I thought it was. It's. I see. It's the shower. My sweet lady's taking a shower on the other side of the wall. Anyway, my fault. Early in the film is 1992, and it's Oakland. And the Black Panther Party in real life was established in Oakland in 1966. And now they're also saying Chadwick Boseman, his last tweet was August 11th for Kamala Harris, and she's from Oakland. But anyway, in that scene, if you're paying attention in the background, you can see the Public Enemy poster. And there's actually another angle they give you, and they got another Public Enemy poster on another wall. So there's two Public Enemy posters in this scene on this wall. Now, Public Enemy, the same day Chadwick Boseman dies, announces that they've re-signed with Def Jam Records, who they began with, and they got a new album coming out called What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. Now, this becomes all the more interesting when you watch a little bit further into the Black Panther movie, because this is like right around the 8-minute mark. It's the first action scene of the movie. Black Panthers, if you haven't seen Black Panther, they're from a society with very advanced technology that's way better than what the rest of the world's got. So just think about that in terms of the elite. But this is the premise of the movie. These Black Panthers, they live in this secret colony in Africa. Most of the world doesn't know that much about it. It's a lot of stuff's under wraps, but they got the craziest technology. So anyway, the first action scene is him jumping out of this plane. He's coming down on his enemies, and he throws down essentially the technology they have that puts them above the game on everyone. And he throws down this technology, and they're attacking these vehicles, and it lands on each vehicle and just kills the power instantly for all the vehicles, and then they attack the people. But again, it's like a power kill scene, right? And this is just moments after you see the scene with the the Public Enemy posters up. And it's like, okay, so you have to think about it, right? The Public Enemy posters are clearly on display in the scene. And then the power-related sequence. And again, the same day they announced this new album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. And again, this is a group that was popular in the 80s and 90s. And since the 90s, I mean, you still know who Public Enemy is. Their name's still out there. But they haven't really been making much current music. And then earlier this year, they got some recognition because Chuck D supposedly kicked Flava Flav out of the group. You probably know Flava Flav, who wears the big clock around his neck, over a Bernie Sanders rally. And then it was like just a few weeks later, then all of a sudden they had a new song that was on Sirius XM.
Oh, but let me add a little bit to that.
Yeah.
Right there to that point. Okay, in 1989, 31 years ago, Professor Griff was kicked out Public Enemy. 31 years ago. The word Chuck D equals 31.
Right.
He kicked Griff out 31 years ago. Now, not only that, but Chuck D, he made the announcement of kicking Flavor Flav out the group on March 1st. So another 3-1. So Chuck D equals 31. He kicked Professor Griff out the group 31 years ago in 1989. 31 years later, he kicks Flavor Flav out on 3-1, right? And then they announced it was all a joke. But when did they announce it? They announced it was all a joke on 3/31. So another 31 right there. So that goes to show you how planned out this whole thing is.
And to remind how entertainment comes together with politics, it was on the 61st day of the year, and Bernie Sanders is 61, and it was over a beef with like Flava Flav not wanting to do the Bernie Sanders event. And after 35 years was the headline. Chuck D has kicked Flava Flav out of the group. Bernie's 35, Rap's 35, just like we were talking about with Megan Thee Stallion's mother dying 35 days after her birthday. And again, it's just all ritual by numbers. So then you look at this new album. What you gonna do when the grid goes down? And it's got, a broken computer, broken TVs, the things most people are dependent on. Candles are lit. The power lines are on fire. And with regards to them signing with Def Jam equals 39. And remember, Chadwick Boseman, who died the same day that their album came out, he died exactly 39 weeks after his birthday. He played Jackie Robinson as well as Black Panther. And it was Jackie Robinson Day in the MLB this year that he died on. But Jackie's 39. He played James Brown. James Brown's 39. Emmett Till's 39. He died 39 weeks after his birthday and 93 days before his becoming birthday. He also played Thurgood Marshall, who died in 93 on January 24th, like 24/1. Chadwick Boseman just died on the 241st day of 2020, the leap year. So just you see the riddles with all the characters he played, because again, he played Jackie, he played James Brown, and he played Thurgood Marshall. His death is perfectly synced, paying tribute to those numbers of those same people. And then Def Jam also has that 39 number. And again, Public Enemy signs with Def Jam, announces the new album. Right as you get the news of the death of Chadwick Boseman, and again, Public Enemy's front and center with the music posters in the scene in the movie, which is followed by this blackout scene. So it's like, my God. And if you haven't seen this Black Panther movie, check it out. There's a lot of dialogue and things that just connect with today. And don't just look at it from like a race standpoint. Just look at it from like what's going on in the world and people with advanced technology that have the ability to essentially dictate what goes on with all of the rest of humanity. So, again, my new book coming out, big thing I talk about is technology and why 1968 did so many agendas go into play, from 9/11 to coronavirus being coined that year, and why 52 years later, 2020, what's that got to do with technology? Big premise of the book. But also, with regards to this new album coming out, it releases September 25th. And that's going to be Chuck D, the leader of Public Enemy's 56th day of his age, the number of the year. And Power Outage is 56 in the most pure cipher, as is Society of Jesus,
Wow.
as is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is also 56. And
I just talked about 56 with the
everywhere.
hashtag. The hashtag
Yeah.
RIP FBG Duck is 56.
It's in everything this year.
And just to add another 31, remember in '89 the song "Fight the Power" came out, which you play a little clip on the Wednesday show.
Right.
So that came out 31 years ago. The remix comes out 31 years later in 2020. Now the "Fight the Power" remix has Nas on which we're gonna get to, but these are the people on the remix: Nas, Rhapsody, Black Thought, YG, Jahi, and Questlove. And remember, Black Thought and Questlove, they're both members of the Roots, and the member from the Roots just dropped dead recently.
Malik B, by the numbers, dead at 47, 258 days after his birthday. And Number of the Beast is 258, and Beast is 47. But the day this album comes out, September 25th, it can be written 25/9, like 259, and Black Lives Matter also equals 259. And just think about it. Think about what they're doing right now. Think about the sick riddle. A blackout, Black Lives Matter, black hip-hop musicians, Black Panther. They're putting all this stuff in black, right? And just imagine what they're brewing. It's like these people controlling our society are building this perfect storm right now. They're scaring people. They're putting them out of work. They're putting them in a bad spot. They're saying because of the storms, there could be food shortages in the near future. Now they put out this album. What you going to do when the grid goes down? And this is what I've been talking about for 7 years, because Janet Napolitano, when she stepped down from the head of DHS, she said the next 9/11 would be when the grid goes out due to a cyber attack from a foreign enemy. Well, remember, the government always does stuff to us and blames it on some boogeyman. Our government is owned by essentially foreign nations. We're not a sovereign territory. But anyway, just think about this perfect storm. So they got all this stuff going, plus they're dividing people racially. They're getting people mad and angry at each other. Again, they're putting them in a spot where they might not be able to feed themselves, keep a roof over their head. They're building all these perfect things. Imagine in this scenario what happens if they turn the power out and people's power doesn't work and whatever food they do have left spoils. It's just they're building such a nightmare, and they're laughing all the way to the bank, literally, while putting this in their movies, in their TV shows. And they really did hype up this Black Panther movie. I mean, it had a major marketing campaign around it. It was like every corner you look, advertisement for Black Panther. They wanted everyone to go out and see this movie, and most people did. And it's just, I mean, their plans are clear. And then also looking at the new Public Enemy album cover, what you gonna do when the grid goes down? If you look at it again, you got like 80s, and you got like an 80s boombox and TV set, just like the stuff when I grew up with 80s style speakers. So it's like you got, because again, they're a blast from the past, Public Enemy. I mean, they're an 80s and early 90s hip hop group. But anyway, all this stuff is set in a Southwest scene, like the Southwest United States, like part of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. Well, when I start to think Southwest, what I really start to think of, though, is like if I'm thinking Southwest U.S., big city, I'm thinking of Los Angeles. Can you imagine if they turned the power out on, and think about it, it was like during the Bush years that they were doing the rolling blackouts. That might have even been in 2001, 19 years ago. I gotta go back and look at that. But I mean, they've already messed with this state in so many ways. If they turn the power out on Los Angeles with all this stuff they're doing right now, I mean, it could just be a real disaster. And that's what people need to wise up to and wake up to. And this is what I've been preaching about for 7 years, why we need to shut down this cabal, because this is where they have us going. And Jonathan, before I go back, I think I'm going to play the clip later, but there's these two rappers out there, Red Pill and Blue Pill, and they did a live stream yesterday, and I felt like they were going after me and, denouncing what we're putting out and telling people that, these people doing gematria, they're not spiritual, and they're making things that are just the way the earth works into conspiracy. And Chadwick Boseman, he just died at 43 because he's sick, and it's just a big coincidence that it was on Jackie Robinson Day. And, it's just a big coincidence that it was on Jack Kirby's birthday, the author of Black Panther. I see that those guys have a lot of jewelry on, and it looks like they're living in a really nice house. So, I mean, maybe they made their money honestly, but I know a lot of people in this world that are making big bucks. It's because they're part of this system and cabal and misleading people. And when I hear somebody on there dissing my work and saying it's not spiritual, which I don't even know how they can base that on, and telling people to just look the other way, that he died on Jackie Robinson Day, like, oh, that's just nothing. Who cares if he died on Jack Kirby's birthday? These people just don't understand the spiritual world, and this is just the way the world works. It's like, are they going to be saying that are they saying that right now as they begin the trial vaccines on black Africans on June 24th, the 106th day of the pandemic, when black equals 106 and Black Lives Matter equals 106 and I Can't Breathe 106?
Prophecies 106?
Exactly, man. And this stuff's been going on all throughout history. Are these guys telling me that this is all just spiritual and you're supposed to not? Because, I mean, they were real specific. They're like blaming this on certain groups and stuff. Like, that's just a bunch of nonsense. It's just all the way the spiritual realm works. I mean, please, man. You think just the spiritual realm just is like a predator on black people by the same damn numbers all throughout history? I mean, come on, man. But these guys should be called Blue Pill and Blue Pill, and one of them might want to change their names to Very Harmful Side Effects. But it's just a joke, man. And anyway, I got off on a tangent there, but you can have the floor back.
No, I mean, I hear you. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense when you say, gematria is just a bunch of made up mumbo jumbo. You don't even know anything about this for you to even say something like that. I mean,
well, they might know something about it, because at one point he goes, Pop Smoke had a. Pop Smoke had a 44 gematria, and he died. He was on a 44 path, and he didn't really explain anything about what 44 means. But Pop Smoke equals 44 in Chaldean gematria, which I wrote about in my first book. It is an interesting cipher. I don't touch on it a lot, but the fact that he just threw that out there, because I watched their hour and a half or so presentation, and he just threw that out there at one point, like in a way like he was trying to appease people, like, yeah, I know what gematria is, but I'm not really going to explain anything, and I'm just going to make sure you guys understand that most of it's just all a coincidence. It's just so sad what these people do to sell out their community. And as I look at them there with all the jewelry on and the nice shades and the nice house they're in, I'm just like, I guess this is how you do it, man. You just get out there and bullshit people and mislead them and be part of the problem, and your bills are paid for. So it was sad to witness, though.
Well, speaking of Pop Smoke, you see how they do it now. We talked about this before, is that The new marketing campaign is death. I mean, this whole culture is based on death, not just hip hop. Just American culture is based off death. So Pop
Right.
Smoke, he drops an album on February 7th, the 38th day of the year. Death equals 38. And next thing you know, um, in I think it was last month his album came out, or it might have been June. When he comes out, he drops dead. Nobody even knows who he is. He drops dead, and now he has a #1 album in the country based off his death. This is the way they. This is it's the same thing with Juice World. He drops dead December 8th, which is an infamous day, and he drops his album. It goes to #1 on the charts. Same thing with Pop Smoke. He drops dead #1 on the charts. This is the new way that they promote these artists.
But
And
don't you think, Jonathan, that's just the way the spiritual realm works, and it's all just pretty much a coincidence beyond that?
no, this is a money making machine that
Exactly.
that doesn't care anything about that. They wanna be able to. They don't care about. And for all we know, these people aren't even dead. We don't know if Pop Smoke's really dead. You know what I'm
And
saying?
let's not forget that he had that music video, Christopher Walken, and in it, just like randomly, there's just a clip inserted of a helicopter crashing, and his death came right after Kobe's, 24 days after Kobe's death. That must have just been how the spiritual realm works. Like he just decided to put the 2 second clip of the helicopter crashing for no reason in there. And I mean, the other thing is, didn't we say the day that it happened? We said, the 50th day of the year, synced up with 50 Cent. Both their names are Jackson. You got the Ignatius Jackson album delayed, like Ignatius Loyola, the Jesuits. And then next thing you know, 50 Cent's producing his album and